So Jairo, is Rita a natural step forward after La Llorona? A natural for you as a director?
Yeah, I don't know if there is a kind of a path to follow in that cases, but in any case, my company in Guatemala is looking for talk about some topics that can help our audience. And when I say our audience, I mean our local audiences to confront some problematics that we never confront before, because as you know, Guatemala had a very long war for 40 years almost. And for us, it's very important to be focused on human women rights, indigenous rights, migrants, child's rights, and what is the medio ambiente,
Environment.
environment. So that was the opportunity to talk about how we are treating as a society the kids, and you know, there is this kind of sentence that we are repeating for a long time, saying that they are the future, and we are forgetting that they are the present, and we have to take care of them today.
So I was wondering, for me, the Catholic Church has brought a really toxic vision of reality, in my opinion, in many places. How much was the Catholic Church responsible for the creation of fear and and cruelty in a way? Or if you don't agree with me, that's fine. You can respond.
Yeah, religions are, in a way, they are so important for a society, because they have to give us all that kind of tools to understand ourselves better. But when they need to have people just following their rules, and when they convert it in a business, that is the problem. And so I think in Guatemala we are really suffering that kind of phenomenon, because even if people want to live in a more freedom way, fear is a very nice way to control. And I think they are responsible, but we are too, like God doesn't exist if we don't follow him. And I think we have to be aware about how kind of gods we follow.
Jairo, I guess Rita represents many Ritas in society. I know it's one person, but she could be many girls that age in that situation. Could you tell us why is Rita in that situation without giving away the plot? Or
In Guatemala in 2017, we had a very, very big dramatic story in a place called Hogar Seguro, when 41 girls died burning, burning, burning,
she was burned.
burned.
She oof.
They were burned. And so it was a very strong news for us, because it put us behind in front of our responsibility, and give us the idea that what our state or our institutions were doing to take care about kids. And I wanted to talk about that, but it was very complicated, because everything in Guatemala continued hurt very hard. So I met a producer. She's an American producer living in Panama, and she adopted two girls coming from the institutions. And these two girls, when they came from their new house with their new parents, the first thing that they asked was, "Help me to denounce our aggressors in the institutions." So I had impression that I was in front of girls who were kind of heroes because they have that strong and courage, and they wanted to continue talking about that. So I started doing my research in Panama and going in each of the Central American countries until I arrived to Guatemala. And thanks to all that interviews and meeting all that girls, including the Guatemalan girls, the surviving and the families of the not surviving in Guatemala, I could build Rita. So Rita, in a way, is an example of all that group of girls that we met during the research.
I was reading some reviews on the film, and to document myself a little, to look more intelligent, and I was wondering if Guillermo del Toro was an inspiration for you in the way of a film as a filmmaker.
More than inspiration. In a moment, Guillermo became a kind of I want to say a mentor. When we released La Llorona, he called me to talk a lot about my movies and the way that I was telling the stories. And he invited me to make a TV show with him. And it was a real honor. And we started working on the script. And in that moment, we had the green light for Rita. And I have to say, Guillermo, I cannot do in that project with you. So in a way, it was a kind of a very exciting moment because I was saying no to Guillermo del Toro, and a very sad moment, and a very happy moment because I had the green light for my film. But for sure, Guillermo is a kind of he opened a door to all the Latin American people to be proud about our magical realism and to be proud about using it beyond the fact that magical realism is a literary movement. And so, yeah, for sure, I'm always looking for his inspiration and his work.
So, Jairo, how challenging was it for you to bring into the screen the magical realism? Because one thing is reading Garcia Marquez or something, and the other is bringing into the story. So, how did you accomplish the aspects of reality of the film and then the fantasy aspects and then mix them? It
I
was
don't,
cool. It was
I
very
don't know,
cool.
in this case, it was a challenge or it was a solution. Because it's not easy to say, come to the theater to see all that girls suffering. But talking with them, we realized in my team that they were building a kind of a magical world to protect themselves. And so we wanted to make a film reflecting that reality, that even if the news in the country and people were telling that girls wasn't girls, but they were delinquents, in fact, they were beautiful and magnificent creatures. So I
Well,
think in that case, it was a kind of a nice solution.
Eh, I understand that you work with these girls who are not necessarily professional actresses. So, how did you accomplish that realism in their performance?
Since 2012, we built an academy to form actors in Guatemala. And we form until now more than 100, no, como 1250 más o menos.
A
And
thousand twenty two, 12, yeah, 1,250.
exactly, actors in the country. And when we start Rita, We wanted to have a casting coming from each one of the corners of the country, and we opened a casting, and we had 5,000 girls coming to the casting.
Oh,
And we just keep 300 because we were in the end of the pandemic time, so we need to make bubbles to
yeah,
you know, that time was crazy.
yeah.
And each one of them came to the academy, and we never know them which role they will play in the film. We really formed them as an actor for a year, and the last 2 months we announce which one of them will become the main characters. And it was a very nice thing because at the beginning, each one of the girls wanted to become an actress and maybe became famous. But when they realize the theme that the film will talk about, it was a kind of I don't know how to explain that, but they really took it personal, and they wanted to give voice to the other girls who doesn't have the opportunity to talk or to yeah to
So they wanted to represent.
yeah, exactly, they wanted to represent them, so they just forgot their individual goals and they make it a kind of a social goal. And it was a very nice work with that group of girls in the films. I think it was my human university in that moment.
Muy bien, muchísimas gracias y enhorabuena por la película.